Hi, I'm Scott Miller, and this is Matt Stabile. I'm the technical support lead here at Seymour Duncan, and Matt's one of our engineering techs. And we're here today to talk about the SFX06 Paranormal Bass Direct Box. This is our first pedal for bass guitar. Everything we've done to this point has been for guitar, and we decided, it's unfair. We needed to let the bass players in on the fun. So this is what we've done. For those of you who are familiar with our onboard tone circuit preamps, essentially that's what this is. It's a 3-band active EQ with a slap contour setting that scoops out the mid-range, boosts the bass that you can punch in or out for whenever you want to use it. The great thing about this pedal, and really the reason that we decided to release it, is that for all of those players that have P basses and jazz basses especially, that would love to use active EQ but don't want to route their basses and muck up their pick guards to add spots for other potentiometers and switches, now you can get the active EQ without doing anything to your bass, just by using the pedal. In addition to that, if you do have an onboard EQ, but you're someone that likes to have a variety of different sounds during a gig, maybe some of your tunes use extreme variations in EQ, and you don't always want to be turning your knobs, you want to have something available at the click of a switch, you can also use this to punch in this separate EQ setting whenever you want it, or just to punch in the slap contour function whenever you want it. And so it gives you a lot of versatility in terms of just getting a few different tonal characters without having to do a whole lot to get them. The Paranormal EQ features 3 bands of active EQ. The bass band is centered around 120 hertz for a nice thump. The mid-range is around 650 hertz, and the treble control centers around 2K roughly. And so you can add some definition into the sound, or you can warm up the tone nicely just by backing that off a bit. In addition to the 3 bands of active EQ, there's also a slap contour switch, which when you engage that, you're activating a mid-range cut bass boost. So you kind of get this scoop where the low end gets pushed. It should just give you a nice articulate thump for your slapping tone. And the other feature is that this pedal is also a DI. It's got an XLR output that you can send, post EQ of course, that you can send straight to the front of house so that your mix engineer can get the sound straight out of the pedal and you can monitor with your amp on stage. The Paranormal runs on 9 volts DC, so you can use the 9-volt battery internally for portability, or you can use your 9-volt DC wall wart power supply if you don't want to fuss with batteries. Okay, so let's go through some of the tonal variation that you can get kicking in the EQ. What we're going to do is we're going to play a passage with the standard setup that we've got, and then we'll do it again with the EQ kicked in so you can hear the difference in tonal character. What we're going to do here is a bit of a boost in the mid-range and a bit of a boost in the treble when the EQ is kicked in. So you hear a little more growl, a little more articulation, and a little more level, because as you're pushing EQ, you're going to make the sound a little bit louder as well. So let's hear it. So that's without the EQ, that's just straight through the amp. And here's one with the EQ kicked in. Cool. So you can hear there's a little more growl, a little more articulation, and actually a little more level. Okay, so now we'll demonstrate with a passage of slap technique, adding the EQ with the same mid and treble push that we've been using. And then on top of that, we'll add the slap contour so you can get a feel for what that sounds like. So that's a pretty good example of the 3 stages of EQ. Adding the slap contour is a bit more subtle. It's not such a big change in EQ, especially since the first step we've got a lot of push, and so you're hearing a level increase. With the slap contour, you're hearing actually a little bit of a scoop of mid-range. So there isn't a level difference as much as there is just kind of a feel and tonal character difference. Okay, so one of the other actually really cool ways you can use the Paranormal EQ is almost as an effect. If you have your onboard EQ set up, you've got your sound dialed, but say in the middle of a tune you want to use a certain kind of hard EQ for effect or as an intro to a song, something narrow, something weird that you wouldn't want for the whole tune, but for this one section it's really cool, and you can't dial it and undial it from your bass in time to stay in the tune. So you can set the EQ for that hard effect that you want without having to change your bass. So you step on it, you get your EQ, you get off of it, your standard sound is still there. So we're going to just run you through an example of using it like that. Cool. So that's an example of just, you step on it. What we did this time was scoop all of the mid-range out and crank the bass and treble all the way up. So you get this really articulate, thumpy, sort of hollowed out sound that's really different. You probably wouldn't want to play your whole song on that, but just for a section you might really want to kick that in just for effect, and so now you can. So from Scott and Matt, thanks for watching the demo, and I hope that this has been helpful in terms of how you're going to use your paranormal EQ, and we hope that you enjoy it. Scott and Matt, out.